we first wanted to dive into something, Sheridan. You had a question for me, I think.
I did, because everybody on this call is probably aware that Sonia's book is now out and it's official and it's the corrected version. So we don't have to worry about navigating some of the quirks that happen with the limited edition, first edition, which I'm sure you've taken down now. So those who've got it have got something very unique. But what I wanted to know, Sonia, and I thought this would be a great opportunity, obviously, to talk about the book. I'll be transparent about that because I'm very excited for you. And I think there's a massive value in it, especially for anybody who's struggled with food and body image and all the things that go with navigating that journey in this particularly challenging environment that we live in. But you might remember me talking about how important it was to celebrate the wins, the big wins and small wins. And I thought this could be a good opportunity to demonstrate how to talk to a friend who's just had a big win. Sonia, first up, congratulations. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
How?
Go ahead.
No. Go.
Well, we were talking earlier about writers, and it's a very creative, but a very solitary practice. And one of my biggest issues was, are people going to understand what I'm even talking about? Is it going to make sense to someone who hasn't spent copious hours like our magic folks? They listen to me a lot and they're hearing what I have to say, but are they going to really get it? Are they going to going to make sense to them?
Yeah.
So I have felt, I want to say it feels like I'm birthing a baby, but it's not. It feels like I'm walking out on stage without any clothes on. And you get to see
Very
all my
vulnerable.
cracks and crevices. You get to see every wart, every mole, and I have no idea how you're going to interpret or what you're going to look at, what you're going to focus on. I have no idea. And it is extremely vulnerable to I've been hosting book clubs for years now, and your book was one of them that we hosted.
Mm.
I've been hosting them for a number of reasons. I do believe that books, especially in the self-help category or the healing or the informational scientific area, are really challenging to read on your own. We really do get more from it when we're in a group setting. And everybody's been asking me when I'm going to put this out on the book club for the magic. And that has been a real struggle for me, and just in part because the process has been so convoluted. Like back here, this copy right here is the 400-page behemoth that was first created, where my publisher put out, I told him I didn't want them to edit my content, but they took that as they're not going to edit it and they're not going to format it. It's really quite, it's not only laughable, but actually some people are like, oh, I really like it because there's lots of space. It's double spaced, for instance. And there's no page numbers in the table of contents, and there's no breaks between chapters. It's just really fascinating. And of course, it's missing half the last chapter. So this is the final. This is the final version. And that is even hard to say as an author, because you feel like, oh, there's just one more edit. There's one more edit. And I just got some new information yesterday on a piece of the puzzle around why food is such an issue for us. Why food is such a problem in comparison to releasing a drug addiction or cigarettes or alcohol even. There's a number of reasons for that. But one that I hadn't ever heard before was that when we are born, we are using mostly our right brain. And our right brain is the creative space and the emotional space and the reading the signals in the space. But our left brain is the thing that helps us determine and figure out what that emotion actually presents. We don't have that capacity when we're young, when we're babies. We are using our right brain, which means that the addictive substance concept is started so early that it's very much driven into our DNA and our brain. And that's why it's such a challenge, in particular for food. Not to mention the fact that we have to eat to sustain ourselves. We can't not eat.
Sonia, in your natural generosity, you're already giving us this new information
I know.
that you wish was in the book, that will be in the second book. You've shared your vulnerability, the challenges. I actually need to coach you on the win. So let's talk about
Yes.
celebrating the
Yes.
win. Okay, so first up, first question is, how long have you wanted to write a book? How long has this been a dream of yours?
The very first book that I picked up, I was 3 years old.
Okay,
It's been
this is
since I was
huge.
3 because I read this book. It was a detective novel and novel. It was for the Scholastic Book Club. Everybody knows what that is, I think. Everybody in the United States does. Yeah, it was a detective book, and there were so many things about it that I thought I could shift, that I really liked the characters, but I really could have made some changes. So I recognized immediately that I could that I would wanted to write. I didn't think I was a good writer, though.
So
I think I
you've
knew what I was.
wanted to write a book for 6 decades,
Yes.
and now you've not only written it, but you've published it. That is amazing. So, Sonia, how does it feel after 6 odd decades to finally go, here it is? Yes, there was a little hiccup with the first limited edition, but
It's
now
funny
it's
to
in
me,
the world.
absolutely. Yeah.
How does it feel?
Yeah. One of the things that you and I share is our ability to look at the opportunity in literally anything. And when I first got this copy, which I will admit that I cried. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity. And I really relied on my magic people that's my membership group, the magic people, to really give me some boosting and some acknowledgement for this. We need other people. We need to have other people telling us and reminding us about our own abilities. And yes, I knew that my positive spin on this was a gift for me. And I really appreciated that. And that's something you and I share in copious amounts. So yes, I did appreciate the perspective that it took me about a day. And then I sat in the getting my hair done and I looked through this book and I thought, okay, how can I make lemonade here? That was my go-to. And that's something that I have definitely learned. That is something that was not born into me, but something that was ingrained in me at a very early age.
I just want to congratulate you because not only after 6 decades have you got a book out in the world, you've navigated a challenge with the publishing of the book, probably quite a few challenges, but one that you've been willing to share and turn into a teachable moment, a life lesson. The cover is absolutely beautiful, Sonia. Tell me about discovering that piece of artwork.
I wanted a box that was complicated because we are. And I chose this because of all the threads, all the different colors. This represents our life. It's not wrong to have a box that we've built over this amount of time, but there is an opportunity for us to branch out and have a party, explode into something really fun. And who knows where these threads are going to land. That's the gift of vulnerability and the gift of courage of recognizing I have no idea where this explosion is going to go, but I'm going to ride that wave. And that's exciting when we can get to a place where we can appreciate, I'm going to ride that wave. I know you understand that. You get out into the ocean every day.
So, how have you celebrated this major milestone in life? Have you had a chance to celebrate yet?
That's an excellent question. I think I have glimmers multiple times a day. Someone basically said, you got to put your book up here. And that was really, it's in my face now in a really lovely way. It's a constant reminder that I've done this thing, that I've created this thing. And you don't have to write a book to start celebrating. But what I've got here is an example of a way for you to celebrate. I use sticky notes all the time as reminders of the things that we've done that we can be proud of. You don't have to have written a book. You can. I can show you how. I've got a lot of tricks now. I understand a lot more than I did. I'm sure you do too. So celebrating, it's hard for me to accept compliments.
Okay, in that case, let's just pause for a second. Can everybody who's not driving please unmute for a moment? Just take your microphones off mute. Even if your camera is blocked, take your microphone off mute. Donna, can you unmute? Anybody else? All right. So let's all celebrate Sonia and the release of her book. Yes. Yes. Sonia.
Congratulations. You
It's
did it for us,
awesome.
Sonia. We
Thank
so
you.
appreciate things.
Susie, Eve, Donna, thank you so much. Celia, Cicely, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. So you can mute again now. And I'd love you to pop in the chat a win you've had this week. It could be tiny, it could be huge, it could be saying no to something that you knew wasn't going to be good for you, or it could be saying something yes to something that was joyful. So it could be absolutely anything. Please pop some wins in the chat. Sonia, I just wanted to take a moment because by nature, you divert to sharing and teaching, and you do it so well and so naturally. But I really wanted you to soak in the win.
Thank,
Win.
thank you. It's
It's
interesting to, yes, to understand me a little bit more when I find myself in these places because I'm not numbing myself with something. I am faced with these things and it's really interesting to me. It comes more from a curiosity space than from a shame or a judgment space. But I'm curious. I wonder why I struggle with accepting compliments. I wonder why I struggle with attention. It's funny because I have hosted thousands of Zooms. I'm on camera a lot. Why do I struggle? This is fascinating to me. And we each get to explore these things without that feeling. I definitely don't feel judgment from myself. I'm curious. And I
Mhm.
love the fact that you brought that up. I have not had a cheerleader section. Although I've had a lot of cheerleading, I've not had that. So thank you. That was a huge
You are
gift.
very welcome. And thank you to everyone who joined in there, Barbara, Denise. Just beautiful. And we want this for you. So you might have noticed what I was doing in the last few minutes that we've been talking and celebrating Sonia's win is just digging a little bit deeper, getting more of the story. So when a friend has a win, one of the ways we can celebrate with them is to really lean into it, give them a chance to talk about their experience. So often we go to what's next? Someone's just given birth. When are you going to have your second child? How many are you planning? It's, oh my goodness, I can't even cross my legs yet. And you're talking to me about my next child. It's really important that we take time to lean into the wins. And fairly early on in the Joy Club course, there's a section. And these are, and thank you to those who are participating in the actual program. They might feel like tiny things. Why do we celebrate every win? It becomes exponential. These things build on themselves. And it gives us fuel for when things do go wrong. Like Sonia, you're very aware of your work in the world and the good things it's doing for other people. You have the magic group, you have your Transform with Sonia, and people wouldn't join and wouldn't stick around if they weren't finding value. But we often forget to stop and celebrate ourselves. It's really easy for us to celebrate each other, but to actually celebrate ourselves it can be something of a challenge. So I've got a win here. Morning. I'm finally ready to decorate my house with my Christmas memories that I haven't seen for 12 years while I've been traveling in an RV. That is a beautiful win. That is a beautiful win. Thank you. Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, it is. And what have you had to celebrate recently?
Oh, you're asking me personally? See? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready for everybody else's wins. For me personally, I think celebrating that I've become more flexible. I've been able to be kind to myself under a more flexible environment. So a few years ago, everything had to be very ordered and rigid for me to feel safe, particularly around food dysfunction. Yeah, I was very strict and rigid. And that was I guess, a way of developing some fundamental muscles. But I'm really proud and pleased. I think a win for me is that I've had a very interesting, turbulent couple of months. And I've been able to navigate that without turning to food as my main source of comfort. That food has stayed in its appropriate place. For me, there is a certain amount of joy and celebration and eating with others, a certain amount of flexibility that I used to not have. but I feel safe with it. I no longer am afraid of myself. I actually trust myself. There you go. That was a long way of getting to the point. I can trust myself that I will be okay, that I will look after myself, that I can course correct if things are getting a little bit. It's not the end of the
It's
world anymore.
interesting that you say that because, first of all, I believe it when you say it and you believe it. Sometimes when we use affirmations, they sometimes don't feel true.
Affirmations can be incredibly dangerous. And I think I brought this up before, but it's certainly in all of my work. There's a couple of fundamentals that I write about in different ways in the Joy Club, but also in I Am Enough. And affirmations are so important. They nourish our mind, the way quality, real, organic, healthy, just real food, not frankenfoods and dodgy foods and made up foods, but real food nourishes our body. We can nourish our minds with our thoughts, but there's so much out there in the world about thinking positive that people have got this overblown perception that they need to put a check for $1 million on the ceiling and stare at it. Now, that may have worked for one person, and that person who wrote about that made a very successful book. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not the everyday experience. It's like winning the lottery. It's unlikely. And our strongest response from our gut instinct is BS. And if our response to our affirmation is BS, we need to bring it back and make it real and doable. And we might grow towards our multi-million dollar lifestyle or whatever it is that you happen to want, total food freedom. But we need to be real about where we're at with it now and move towards it in those baby steps, a little bit like the 1% of joy. If we can add a little bit, we're building a strong foundation on which we can build more and more. And once again, those 1% can add up to 100% improvement over time. But if we overreach, it's like the elastic band. If we overreach and then the second we let go, it snaps right back. Whereas if we build and build, then even if we slide back a little bit, it's like we've got enough traction to go. And that's what I mean by the course correction.
Yeah. What's interesting when you were talking, I was just laughing from myself because last week I've been struggling a little bit with my sleep with all of these things going on with the book and all the excitement and the enthusiasm and the anxiety and the passion and the vulnerability and all those things. And so I've been listening to different types of overnight YouTube things in order to help me not necessarily stay asleep, but go back to sleep if I wake up. I start thinking, my brain gets going and everything. So I was listening. And I literally woke up and go, it's bullshit. Because it was an affirmation that I was just not willing to accept. And I thought, you are not going to drill that into my head. So I thought it was hilarious that an affirmation for me needs to be true and also needs to push me towards something. But when we're talking about these affirmations, I do absolutely recognize the importance of how joy fits into them and how it helps us navigate those stressful situations and those circumstances where, like you said, you had a lot going on. There were many things happening for you, and you learned to trust your ability to navigate the unknowns, to navigate those things that were going to come up. And that comes from hard-won experience and also awareness of what you're doing and the strengthening of those muscles so that you can recognize enough of a commonality to something for you to be able to say, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I can do this. I've got this.
Mm.
I've got this.
And I think that it can come down to having not just strong foundations, but strong foundational habits that become a practice where we go beyond having to grit our teeth and hang on with our fingernails and push to make ourselves do things. When we get that automaticity in some of our basic habits of life, we've built a strong enough muscle that it's like you're on a holiday, you let go of your formal exercise or whatever it is you do to look after your body for a few weeks. The world won't end because you've got the muscle memory, you've got something to come back to, but you don't let go of it for long. Not so long that it dims and old neural pathways take over. Having those foundational, whatever your personal practices are, especially in the morning, I'm a big fan of the morning routine. There's some things that are literally not negotiable for me. I have done that gratitude practice for, gosh, just going to reach for my phone. Check this out. So my gratitude practice is a foundational practice, and I'm happy to talk more about it in just a moment. But I will tell you how many days I've done it without a break, even though my goal is, 6 to 7 days a week. I have that little flexibility there should I not do it for whatever reason on any particular day. However, let me tell you, I have done it, check this out, 786 days in a row.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if someone had said to me, wow, you're nearly 800, one day you'll be at 800 days in a row or 1,000 days in a row, I'd be like, oh, I don't think so. There will be occasions. I even did it when I had COVID. Like, I just do it. And it sets me up so well for my day because first I get to reflect on what happened yesterday and to reflect on it in a positive light, even if it was something challenging. And I have been challenged. So have you, Sonia. So has everyone on this call. We have challenges on a daily basis, big or small. But I've been able to look back at them and sometimes I will use wording that makes it real. Even though I had very broken sleep last night, I am grateful for knowing that I can have a nap this afternoon. I will find a positive framework without making it too Pollyanna. It's got to be believable. We have to be able to believe what we're saying to ourselves. If we can't believe it, then we are less likely to take the action and less likely to make it. So I think there's a little bit of a cautionary tale around affirmations. And I'll just share something with you. For years, like from my early 20s until 3 or 4 years ago, my affirmation was that I wanted to be, and of course, there's all that coaching that tells you have to put it in real time. I am an Australian size 12, which I think is about an 8 to 10 in US sizes. I think it's an 8. I think we're 2 sizes ahead for reasons unknown. Like you guys have size 0. What is that? How can you be a 0? How can you be nothing?
No.
You can't. Anyway, so I had this goal and I wrote it out. And one day I went through some old journals and I had been writing it for decades and it hadn't happened. And had I been a 14 and wanting to be a 12, and it was a little more believable, had I been taking actions that were working, had I not been in that constant state of despair and desperation, throwing myself then into massive enthusiasm for something with tons of energy that was unsustainable because I was trying to eat 2 calories a day or something stupid, it might have been believable, but I was miles away from that. I was like a 20, size 20 and way massively overweight. And I wasn't exercising. So I'm size 12, fit and strong. It just didn't mean anything. And my strongest feeling when I read that was that I just wasn't. And so I couldn't truly believe it, or I couldn't sustain the belief. I could work myself up into a frenzy of motivation or do a workshop and cheer myself on. And that might last a week or two. And then I'd fall off the bandwagon and I'd be like, here I am again. And you all know the story, or many of you know the story anyway, when it comes to weight loss and food addiction and all that sort of thing. But the affirmation I use now, today, I choose the foods, thoughts, and actions that allow me to be a healthy weight and size. Because who knows, you buy clothes, they're all different sizes these days. And then there's the vanity clothes that tell you're a size 0 when you're not, because you bought them from a resort and they're there to flatter everybody. So I just made it really believable and I took away any definite judgment. And I am an Australian size 12 now, a small 12, except for my breasts, which are very generous. They're not going anywhere.
I know.
But I was
on me.
I was able to believe in myself, to believe that I can choose the foods, thoughts, and actions. So I've given myself the permission to be in control of these choices. And action was in there. We can affirm ourselves to wear blue in the face, and every now and then we get the lottery win. Every now and then. But today I choose the foods, thoughts, and actions that allow me to be a healthy weight and size, fit and strong, showing up with beauty, style, and enthusiasm. This is beach style, by the way, so I hope that counts.
It's awesome. I wish my hair could do and if I went swimming in the ocean, it would be a little chillier right now.
Yeah.
I put your affirmation in the chat thread. Is that what you call it? What do you call it?
Yeah, I call it an affirmation.
Yeah. I remember when you were going through this development. We've known each other longer than 700 and whatever many days.
Oh,
And I
yes.
remember when you were going through this, that you were really clear that you needed to have something that was strong and an anchor and grounded in reality, but encouraging and empowering. And where was this in relation to you writing the book, I Am Enough?
This was as I was beginning to write about it. I had that realization of looking back at those old journals, and I'm talking years. It was sad. My heart ached for myself. I'm like, oh, you poor thing. You've been wanting this for so long, and it hasn't happened, or it hasn't happened in a sustainable way. So when I first started writing I Am Enough, I had held my weight at the more or less right size body, a healthy weight and size, for 4 years, and it was slipping. And I went, wow, what am I going to do? So action is really essential.
And it's open-ended enough that it gives you permission.
Yeah, it gives me permission and it gives me authority over my own life. It's up to me to make the choices that bring that about. And also, I guess there's the maturity, learning to recognize that what we do each day, that 1% difference we can make each day, is what creates tomorrow. So when my actions younger, where I'd do an extreme diet and then an extreme, even the idea that there's a cheat day, it's like, why would you reward yourself with the very thing that made you grossly overweight, Sheridan, talking to myself here? Why would I reward myself with that behavior? I just started to look for what feels authentic and right. Now, for somebody else, I'm not saying that doesn't work. I haven't seen it work very often, but for somebody else, that might work. Oh, actually, that's not true. I did have a friend that, oh no, she's got really fat again, so I can't even use her as an example. I just realized last time I saw her, I was like, oh, she'd blown out again because she'd had a particular way of reward.
Laughing about that, just laughing
I
at
know.
the circumstance. You were trying to have empathy for those that want to have a cheat day. I understand that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
desire to please just get me have a break. Let me have a break.
And this is
Oh.
where I guess that sense of flexibility comes in. So when we're building a new habit, working out what is flexible for each of us, depending on where we sit with certain behaviors. I probably do eat some things, Sonia, that you might not. And I have the flexibility to know I can't eat those things every single day and expect a good result and expect myself not to move into, I guess, a more of a compulsive behavior around food. So what I can do occasionally, some people can't do it all, depending on where they are on the spectrum of food addiction. But yeah, just being able to have that flexibility when we make a habit. So even though I'm thrilled to be at 700 and whatever, 78 days or whatever it was with my daily gratitude, the world is not going to end if I don't do it for a day. So I always leave that little bit of flexibility there, that as long as I'm doing it most days. Now, with that one, I've obviously built a very strong foundational muscle. And I'm super aware of how beneficial it is, but I've also built on it. So for those of you who have got to week 3 in 21 days, 21% more joy in 21 days, we're getting to that part where I talk about enhancing. So week 3, the first week was noticing, the second week leaning in, and now we're enhancing. So Sonia, when I was talking about your win and publishing a book, and we leaned right into the experience and wanting to write since you were 3 years old, and then we enhanced it by all celebrating together. So
I'm
looking
still
at,
feeling it.
we'll do it again at the end of the call, shall we? Just for fun. We'll celebrate all of ourselves, that we can take things to another whole level but allowing some flexibility, because while we're holding something so rigid, it works for a while, but there's often an element of fear. And if fear is our biggest motivation, it's a healthy motivation to some degree. As kids, we need to learn our boundaries so that we are safe. I'm very aware of sharks. I live in Australia. We have loads and loads of sharks. We have the biggest sharks on the planet, and this is their playground. So even though I swim every day, I'm respectful, I'm aware. And when there's a sign that there's shark, which I've only actually seen on an Australian beach once, and on the beach last time I was in Honolulu, and everyone was swimming anyway, so I didn't want to swim with the shark. I'm respectful enough to sharks that I'm not going to swim with them if I know they're there. They're there all the time, but if they've been spotted and they're lurking, it's okay. Today's your day to own the water, and I'm cautious about it. So our fears are there to guide us, the red flags, the don't go here. The reason we sniff the milk, if you're a milk drinker, or in Australia, we
Right.
sniff the milk. My sister's husband, Stefan, thought it was the most hilarious thing. And then when he saw me doing it, it's like, you're a milk sniffer too. It's like, we grew up in an era, right at the end of the era, where the milk was delivered and put outside. And and we have very hot climate. So you have to sniff the milk. You want to know that it hasn't gone
Right.
off. So there's things we do that are part of caretaking ourselves. I still want to see some more wins, please. There's 12 of you, and there's at least 12 of you here that I can see. So I'd love to see some small wins.
It's
Would be
sometimes
nice.
hard to pick them out because we've got such a forest of icky that we've been living with, and we're
Yeah,
constantly thinking about these. But this is the muscle that you want to exercise, because just what you were talking about with that fear, there is an abject fear associated with falling off of a diet. There is an abject
absolutely.
fear
Yeah.
of face planting in the pantry. I get that, but there
You want to
does
get a bit of traction under your
right.
feet, a bit of
But what
time
you're
up.
talking about is swimming with sharks. It's a healthy respect.
Mm.
I know for a fact that I will never be comfortable eating these things. Those particular substances are going to send me down a really awful path. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get inflamed. I'm going to never ever want to stop eating. And it's not food for me. But there is now, instead of that abject fear, I have a healthy respect because I've been able to turn down that volume. And that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Swimming with sharks. How many of us are just terrified at the idea of swimming with sharks? My goodness. But that's something that you have worked through and learned. And because of your experience and because of your time, that regular muscle building that you've been doing, you are fine with swimming and very clear that if there's a shark visible, you're not going in there.
Yeah, I'm not stupid.
Got a healthy respect.
I might not be their first food choice. If it's a hungry day, who knows what's going to happen? And we choose the element of risk we take. And if we do fall off our perch, we've got enough traction to climb back on, and
Mhm.
hopefully enough support. Like,
Mhm.
support is huge. And often those that work in the field of supporting others actually find it quite hard to accept support. And I know the very first time I tried to do the 90-day challenge that comes with my book, I just put it out to a group of friends, and I thought this will be fun and we'll do it together. And they struggled, and I noticed, I was watching and I was thinking, what is it about this particular group of people? And we were all people who either were leaders in our field, were a boss, or worked solo. So all of those people, the support in their life was one way. It was them supporting other people. And it didn't matter how encouraging I was, no one was going to call me and say, hey, I need some help today, or I'm feeling a bit shaky, or I'm struggling with this particular goal I've set myself. There was I'll call Sheridan and tell her when I'm back on the horse. I'm not going to get help to get back on the horse.
No, oh
I want to
no.
come and report a success. And so people became embarrassed, and even developing the ability to accept support is another habit to allow in, to build. It's another muscle to build, to actually be able to do that. It doesn't necessarily come as naturally as it should for all of us. just because of our backgrounds and life experiences. I do have another win. This is beautiful. I decided to take a break from selling at the weekly market to rejuvenate myself. That is lovely. That is just lovely. Thank you, Denise.
It's interesting when you talk about, in particular, your gratitude practice being in the morning. I want to remind people that willpower is finite, and we are hopefully most plenished, not replenished, but plenished, as in the overnight has filled that willpower bucket. The overnight sleep and the regeneration of things has filled that bucket. So we are most easily available to do a gratitude practice early in the morning for that reason. Unless you've got a process where you wake up and then you hit the snooze button and then again, and again. That could be a struggle. But in general, doing something in the morning is easier because our willpower is solid and strong and we have strength and energy to do those things. If you wait until after work or after a day of activity, it can be very challenging. It's one of the reasons that people eat just fine for breakfast, they're pretty okay for lunch, and by dinner, they're hosed. Same
Yeah.
reason. And so starting this in the morning only strengthens your day.
And decision fatigue is a very real thing. It really is. I'm distracted in the evening. I know some people do an evening gratitude practice. For me, it works best in the morning because it's that looking backwards. And then from there, I look forwards. So I do the 3 gratitudes, more if I need to, but always a minimum of 3. Some days I have to really think about it. And then I pick that one thing I'm looking forward to. The way I lean into it and the practice I've developed, I use an app. It's free, the free gratitude app, where I get to choose the color of the background. So I get to lean into this gratitude. It becomes a creative thing. I'm engaging my creativity. I choose a photograph to illustrate it, and that allows me to look through some memories. So again, you're getting that dopamine hit from, oh, I took that great photo of the beach yesterday, or of my poodle, or whatever it is. And I add that, and then get this, I share it. I share it with 2 close friends. I may have mentioned this before, but I just am such a fan of this practice. Sharing it with 2 close friends that live in different states to me. And one of them, I'm in her place at the moment. This is her artwork behind us. Beautiful. And we only get to catch up once or twice a year at the most. So it's a way that we are up to date with each other's lives without spending hours on the phone. It's, oh, that happened, that happened. And we can see also if there's support needed. This was really challenging. I'm grateful for this, and I learned that. And I can pick when it's time to pick up the phone and make sure, or send a message back saying, loved your gratitude this morning. Do you need some support with this next thing? How can I support you? Would you like an accountability buddy or a cheer squad? What do you need?
What's the name of the app?
It's just called Gratitude.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a little pink app with just a little, like a little flower emoticon. They will try and upsell you, and there may be things in there that you want. I have never paid for it. I just use the basic version. Fabulous.
Sounds wonderful. I love the idea of sharing bits and pieces with someone else that you don't get to spend a lot of time with, especially with our busy lives. And honoring and recognizing those folks is really special. This is great. I'm curious about this other thing that you have that is starting soon. I think
Oh,
it's
the
a
dream
webinar. Yeah,
workshop,
you have
Go
it.
Into Dreams?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, that's a little webinar. Again, just looking at ways to stay connected with people at a super easy price point. I think it's $25 US, and I'll send you a coupon so that's even less. It's called Land Your Dreams. And so it's a little bit like landing the plane, but I will simply go through this sort of, I guess, a way of, how do I want to word this? Bringing your dreams into alignment with where you are now. So often we can be holding on to a dream that's now actually out of date, but we feel like we'll somehow be a failure if we let go of that dream and we don't make it work. In some ways, I had to let go of an ideal size in order to just see where my body landed once I started caring for it and eating appropriately. Sometimes we do need to let go So it's a webinar, and you get a lovely PDF at the end of it about the role of dreams. What's the real role of dreams for us? Are those dreams up to date? Is it time to let go or adapt one to bring it more in line with where we are now? And then how to take action to begin to bring that dream out of our personal clouds and into our lives. And
I really appreciate this. It's going to be on
this time next week, I think a little bit earlier
yeah.
in the day. Yeah, a bit earlier in the
Yeah,
day.
I think it'll be 3 p.m. US option 1. And I'm not sure about
The other one I think might be in the middle of the night for you because
Well,
I
yeah.
made one that was UK friendly and one that was US friendly, and the Aussies can choose either end of the day, morning or after. And it's fine to do them both. They will be the same but different, because every time you deliver something, someone will say something that, inspires a slightly different conversation. But let's sign up for one. You can either do neither of them and watch them in the replay, or watch both of them, or do one live and do the other. That's completely up to you.
Not
Yeah.
only do I love listening to you speak, but I love what you have to say. And I really appreciate your perspective and your positivity and your beautiful life lessons that you have turned into beautiful sunflowers and passion
Oh,
flowers. I know
thank
you
you.
wear that. Yeah, no, it's really a joy to spend time with you. Really.
And making it real. That's who we are in the world, and how we can actually get what we want by bringing it closer to us, rather than affirming things that are so far away or dreaming so ridiculously big. That might be fun for a core motivation to want something. When we're young, we all remember having dreams that were, and people poo-pooing them or diminishing them or wet blanketing them. They are meant to guide us, but then how do we bring them closer to us? Like the affirmations, how do we make it so that it does nourish our mind and help guide our life along, but also make those steps doable, the 1%. So I guess you can hear that similarity in all of my work. It's like, how can we make it doable? How can we make sure it actually happens and doesn't stay as some fantasy that is so far out of reach that every time we reach out for it, we can't grab it, and it's just building more evidence that we can't do something. 1% more joy, a 1% shift in the right direction. It makes it doable. You don't, unless you've got some magical superpower like a Marvel comic, you don't normally go from the beginning of walking the Camino to the end in 24 hours. It doesn't happen. It's not humanly possible. But one step at a time, enjoying the journey along the way, looking for the joy, looking for the lessons, and then we can take this incredible journey. And of course, we celebrate when we get to the end. That's a big deal. But celebrating along the way is really important. We've got another. Do you want to read this one from Barbara?
Sure.
Mhm.
Excuse me. My win is I recognized why I turned to NF, not food in my world, yesterday at work. And today, when the same feelings came up, I chose not to go to NF. Instead, I went for a walk. Mm. Let's just revel in that for a minute, because that is a huge shift, not just the noticing and the awareness and probably the shame and judgment associated with yesterday, but the recognition that you don't have to spiral, you don't have to live your life in shame and judgment, and that you can make a different choice. It's not easy.
And Mm.
Yeah. But hopefully, we're going to give you a little bit of a standing O, Barbara,
Yeah.
and recognize where you're coming from in this is a big deal. You went for a walk.
And there's more than 1% in there. There's the 1% going in the right directions for recognizing what happened yesterday, that you get a cheer for that. And then when the opportunity there came up again today, and workplaces, it's not easy, hey? We can't have that perfectly zen bridge that we can have in our lives, depending on who we share our house with. There's another tick or percent, or however you want to word it, in making a different choice, and then an action. And then you've got benefit to your body of going for a walk as well as your mind. and your emotions. So you can see how these little 1% things add up. And as Sonia says, that is big. That's big. It might feel like, oh, I just managed it today. We don't know how tomorrow's going to go, but you turned it around, you did it. It's big, and it'll make it easier to make that choice tomorrow. The
And the other
pathways.
1% is sharing it out.
Yeah,
Sharing it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So important to recognize that this is a big deal. And I hope that you can feel that. I know how it feels when it hits us. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable because we're not used to it. We're not used to talking about ourselves and not used to asking for gratitude and support. But when it happens to us, it can feel so cathartic and so healing and so much more helpful to strengthen that muscle going forward. That's the sharing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And probably the biggest shift I've made in my life when it comes to making better choices is recognizing how I'm going to feel afterwards. And I remember this when I first looked at a food program which was stepping away from not food, real food, certainly not my food. And I was at the end of the trial of a program. And in the last week, when I first took it on, I thought this is going to go for whatever it was, 12 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it was. And in the last week, I had an event. And the event was put on by, it was a book event, it was a writers' festival. But one of the founders of it was one of Australia's foremost chefs. And it was in a wine region. And at the time, I was not indulging in those things. And, but I was using it as a beacon. And when I talked about the cheat days or the ways we reward ourselves, I was like, oh, I'll be really good. And I no longer think of food in terms of good or not good. It's either healthy and real, or it's just something that, can live without. But I'll do all of this, and I was still seeing the reward being the break from it. And somewhere as I got closer, I suddenly started thinking, but how would I feel if I went to that event and I didn't break? So instead of leaning into the craving of I can't wait to indulge myself, I started to think about how would I feel getting on the plane or in the car, whatever it was at the time, at the end of that event, and knowing that not only did I enjoy the event, that I didn't break. I stayed true to this decision I've made for myself. And that was a game changer, looking ahead at how would I feel if I don't, rather than I can't wait to be naughty, break the habit, all of that sort of stuff. And that is what I hold true to when it comes to exercise. It's not, do I feel like exercising? Usually I'd much rather stay in bed. But how will I feel afterwards? And how will I feel in 6 months when I've really built that muscle and that habit and I see the results? But I still remember that very first time. And I hope it's coming across as big as it felt, because it was such a shift in perception to want something better for myself, and the word sacrifice comes to mind, to suspend, to let go of something lower, the meaning of the word sacrifice, in order to attain something higher, something that was for my higher good. And yeah, I'll just never forget that. And I come back to that at times where something feels hard or challenging. And I've got this going on behind with my tags. It's like, Sheridan, how are you going to feel when you get through that? Do I want to do it? I have to sit down every day for at least an hour a day for however long till it's done. No, I don't want to do it, but I do want the result. I want the freedom of knowing that I'm up to date. So that freedom is what comes when we allow ourselves to make the small steps each day that add up to the big result we want. A more joyful life, true
Right.
contentment, freedom. Those are the words that come to me. Freedom was number one. First felt free. It's like I'm free from the addiction, the burden of the task, the tax. I'm free. Big relief. And then becoming content. Now building in joy. And consequently, I feel really good about turning 60 this year. here I am. And this is what 60 looks like. And yeah, there's things about my face, my body that are different to what I'd imagined. Like I'm finally in a healthy weight and size. And I have the scars, for want of a better term, of somebody who's done damage to their body over time. But I'm also the fittest and strongest I've ever been in my adult life. I'm fitter and stronger than I was at 20. My
Yeah, I like
skin
to
is
call
not
them
doing what it
badges of
used to.
honor.
The badges of honor. You're so good at this stuff that
You
I
know,
love the skin you're in, and I'm sure there's days where you just go, "Yeah," but I love that you've
yeah.
named,
Oh, yeah. Every
the
morning I
changes
look
in
in
your
the
body.
mirror and I'm like, "Whoa, wow. Wow, look at all that. Look at all that." But it has become a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because that excess skin is absolutely a huge neon sign that says, "Look what you did. Look at how much you've released. Look at the waterfalls and the Shar eyebrows on my ass and the angel wings that hang from my arms." It's all in how we perceive it.
Yes.
I
Yeah. Where
really
you
love.
put attention, like I've got the older age underarm, but look at that, there's
Ooh,
actually a
that's
muscle.
you.
You can see it.
Like it.
And it's, oh, where do I focus? Do I focus on the past and the result of the past? Yes, a little bit, because it does serve to remind us. It serves as a red flag. And then look what I've done. I've
Well,
grown.
you did not.
How cool is that?
Right. You did not take a pill and develop that muscle.
No, that's
That's
not even possible.
no.
Even if you had a pill, and
Yep.
even if there's people on the call who've chosen a particular diet path, that's fine. There's all different ways to
Mhm.
get where we're going. Even if you're on one of the, are they GLIs,
They're
GL1s?
GLP-1s. I have
Yeah.
I'm completely agnostic about it. It does turn down the noise very much.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
you still
Yeah.
can't get away from the daily habits, because
Mhm.
nothing is going to hold you the way you can hold yourself. Nothing in the world is going to stop you putting something in your mouth other than your own choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there is
Unless
a
you
ton
choose
of
that.
science and an understanding and explanation for why we do what we do and why we do go to that food in those moments. And there is
Mhm.
a way to turn down the noise. I'm 100% in
You've
agreement.
written about it, I'm
I
sure. I
have.
can't wait to dive into your
I
book.
have. It is, yes. And I am sharing some of the readings over the next several Sundays with folks. I did one this Sunday and it's early, so it's midnight for you, I think, middle of the night for you, but I am really clear that we're using the wrong syllables and we're looking at the wrong questions. And I that's where I really feel like this book is designed to help people shift and look at things differently. The very first chapter, our food dysfunction is a gift. It's a gift. It's a highlight Barbara knew. She ate something she knew wasn't good for her. She ate it. So she sat back and she looked at it and she goes, "I'm just imagining what you said, Barbara, but you looked at that circumstance and you realized, wow, I know there's something else going on here. Think about that. You ate something that wasn't good for you, and that is a gift because the very next day you chose to make a different choice that was healthy because you ate that food. It was telling you that your body was not getting what it needed. Your system was not getting what it needed, and you chose that substance out of habit, out of consistency over time. This is but tried and true. This is unconditional love right here. This is going to give me exactly what I need. And it does, but it doesn't work over time. And we are now in a place where we can reframe these things. Yes. I'm just,
And reframe what we look forward to. And this lovely example that Donna's given us of feeling finally ready to decorate the house with Christmas memories that she hasn't been able to do for the last 12 years while living in an RV. The anticipation, there's a big part of our brain that is dedicated to anticipation. So a big part of joy and pleasure is what we're looking forward to, which is
exactly,
why planning a holiday sometimes is more exciting than the holiday itself. It can be
exactly,
a lovely thing.
exactly. I just wanted to take a minute. We're getting to the top of the hour, and I wanted to make sure that if there was anything else that anyone wanted to share or a question that they might have, Sheridan
A
is
win, or
such
even if
yeah,
you feel that you haven't had a win this week, I will coach you till we find one. No, I'll stay on here until we find one for you. But yes, if there's anything else you'd like to add. And Sonia, is it everywhere or have you only chosen certain platforms?
it's getting processed out. Apparently, it is going to be available in Europe on the digital and printed versions, as well as it's on all of the Amazon platforms right now, but it will be available on a bunch of other platforms. I'm hoping there was a little bit of a technical snafu. I'm also waiting for the Audible to come out. That I'm hoping is going to be out in the next several days. And I'm
Wonderful.
really proud of that. I'm really proud of the work that I did, that I recorded, and I think it sounds fabulous. So that's coming out very soon. There's also on my platform a it's video where you watch me read it. There's audio and there's the digital copy, and it's all together. And it's on my platform. You just go to Transform with Sonia. You can get the whole shebang. The only thing you don't get is the printed copy, which you can also order for $14.99. The low price of $14.99 right now.
There we go. There we go. Thank you so much. And I guess the final word from me is noticing, leaning in, and enhancing. And the way we enhance, we've done it in this call today. We started with Sonia and her book and coming back to it. It's like when a friend has a win or when you have a win yourself, don't rush past it. Just take a few minutes to really lean into that and let yourself feel it. There's little wins happening all the time, whether it's walking past a lovingly offered opportunity to eat food or something that you've finally got to do that you've been waiting to for a long time, and you've either been saving money or saving energy and making it happen. Building our daily practices. They are a win. They're worth celebrating. Simple ways you can do that is share it with a friend, and that make sure your accountability buddy is also your cheer squad. So you want that nice balance of someone who's going to go, hey, I noticed you haven't done your gratitude for a couple of days. Are you okay? And that's a gentle reminder. I've got one friend who does it. She's a little ADHD, very upfront about it. And she'll suddenly send a whole batch of them at once because she's done them and then she's got distracted and hasn't sent them. So that's okay too. That's okay. But I'll check in because something in life could be going a bit wonky that suddenly she's not there after being there regularly. So accountability with support as opposed to hard ass accountability.
That is the epitome of accompaniment, which is such an important piece. Alarmed aloneness is something that we all feel at different times. We can feel it in a crowd. We can feel it in the middle of the night. We can feel it on our way to work in the morning. We can feel very alone when we've got something that we feel like either we can't share or we don't feel comfortable sharing with someone else, or someone else just really won't understand.
Mhm.
When you can be accompanied like that, just gentle walking, just on your gratitude list, it is such a gift. Such a gift. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been lovely spending this 4 weeks with you, Sonia. And I will be listening to your calls because they come in the middle of the night for me with your short and sweet, what you're reading there from your book and taking a deep dive into the book. I can't wait for the Audible copy because I like to have things in multiple ways
Me
that I
too.
can take you with me and hear your voice. I think that's just such a bonus. But holding a hard copy in my hand always makes me very happy too.
Couldn't
Thank
agree
you for
more.
making that all
Couldn't agree
available.
more. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Sheridan. I've been blessed with your presence more than once, and I'm just so grateful for you. You're a
Thank you
dear
so much.
friend, and I really love you. Thank you. Thank you
Love
all
you
for being
too, and
present.
all of you for being here. It's been amazing.
Thank you both. Sonia, could you please post Sheridan's information as far as that with your course that you have coming up?
The land
Yeah,
your
I
dreams.
posted them both. I posted them both in the chat thread,
I
but I'll
think-
send them out. I'll send them out. Yeah, the last one,
Perfect.
link to you go to
Okay.
if you go to the menu in her Joy Club, you'll see it. You'll see it there. There's 2 choices.
Okay.
Click on programs. And also, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but there is a little freebie on my site, which is to entice people to sign up to my newsletter, which is a great way of saying, and I make sure that newsletter is short and beautiful. So it's a joy to open. It's not, oh God, I'll get to that later because it's giant read coming. It's very digestible. But you get, if you sign up on my website, you instantly get this PDF called Why Am I Not Doing the Thing I Say I Want to Do? And I'm super proud of that. It's one of those keys because it's been a hard fought and won battle for me to learn to do what I say I want to do, to actually act with integrity myself and give myself permission to bring about the things I want in my life. And one of them is to hang out with Sonja and you. So thank you so much. It's been lovely seeing so many beautiful faces each week and getting messages from people who've listened on the replay as well. It's been incredible. Sonja, we will continue to look for opportunities to
Yes, we
do
will.
this stuff together. Hey,
Yes, we will. We're too fun together.
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Have a good day,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Yes, big
Thank you
cheers.
so much.
Love.
Good
Bye, everyone.